So this is TERD. He's a technological emergency response device, and he handled on-site logistics for a fire department until they revamped their system, and he lost his job. But he managed to work odd jobs at a few convenience stores until getting a work at Waterworks Market, where he's now the floor head's right-hand man. So way to go. He was supposed to be a really small kind of side character, but as I kept writing later episodes and working on the edit, I realized I liked him, and he was easy to animate, and Alan's voice made him really fun. And in a COVID type times, or just being an adult, it's nice to have a character you can record over a voice call and quickly tweak performances and dialogue after the fact. It gives you a lot of flexibility. Anyways, this shot was gonna be Turd's introduction when he calls Joe down for a meeting with the floor head, and this is also version 1.0 of the model, but I don't think you can really tell the difference. I like the idea that he was basically this glorified appliance, like he's literally a flying fax machine. I also liked him being covered in little flyers, like folks are just kind of using him as a bulletin board. With the way the character's developed, people using him as a bulletin board I think doesn't make much sense anymore, but I like the idea that he insists. He has a missing cat poster on the front, and I think maybe he saw somebody putting up the posters and was like, oh yeah, put one on me, don't worry, we'll find this cat, and it's kind of a sweet thing. That's a real lost cat from my hometown too, because I just took a picture of a billboard. So if you find that cat, let me know. But then I started working backwards. Then I had this shot of Joe selling salads, but I didn't pull focus right, so the whole start of it was blurry. So I added this digital extension, and I thought, well, if we can justify the focus being somewhere else, this isn't even an issue. So I had it be the new Turd introduction, where he's kind of floating through, bossing folks around like a busybody. The whole episode follows Joe really closely, except for the market scene, where we just kind of start showing random shots from the market, and I like that. It's kind of like let's explore for a little bit, and this was the transition shot that brought us back from the exploration to Joe, where he passes her as if she's nobody, because she's nobody. Then I added a different Turd introduction shot, which would go right before the one you just saw. This is the one I made for the making a shot breakdown, although I still need to finish the background. I had a bunch of full daylight shots in the market scene and a bunch of subterranean lower level shots, and I wanted a shot that would transition back from the dark underground shots to the daylight shots while also giving me an excuse to make a shot breakdown. Narratively, this shot doesn't do much. It's just helping the edit, but it also helps give you that kind of exploration feeling. I like putting a lot of stairs and hallways and corners in these shots, so it hopefully feels as if there's a lot of places you could kind of jump in and explore maybe. I did this shot a couple days ago, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's even worse than the previous one, though, in that most shots I do have a subject, and even if I put a lot of work into the background, it's understood that the background is incidental. I'm trying to treat the world as if it's normal, so why would you just have a random shot of a random place? But it helps establish the transition from sunlight to darkness, so if I have it towards the beginning of the scene, I think it'll help justify the lighting in later shots. Mostly I just want to use those neon signs and the practical footage I filmed 9 months ago. I'm trying to wrap up the market scene right now, so I'm kind of grabbing a bunch of different assets I've made over the past few years and just dumping them all into a few shots, such as this one. This is the fourth shot I've made with the intention of it being Turd's introduction, but I'm really happy with it. I made this one yesterday. It shows him flying around doing some damage control for an event we don't know about yet, and it uses a bunch of photo scans I did with Nate Taylor a few weekends back, and incorporates them all into one scene. And it's not perfect. This was actually kind of a test render that just turned out pretty good. The Tea Merchant in particular looks like a little CG, both in animation and design, but I think he might be good enough. And this shot is really representation of the workflow I'm really excited about, which is this mix of kind of just flexibly mixing CG and live action. I was worried because it has almost the same opening composition as the other shot, following him flying out of a hallway, that it might look redundant, but in the edit it actually helps the flow a bit, which is nice. In the end, you might be thinking wow, maybe it's not a good idea to make a film centered entirely around showing off CG shots, and you're right. But for this scene in particular, my original script was only 2 lines long, and I like the idea that I've been able to slip 2 years of ideas into this one scene in a way that wouldn't have happened if I'd had $1 million and just been able to shoot exactly what was on the script right off the bat. Of course, as I mentioned, since I've been working on this for a couple of years, a lot of the first shots I did are starting to look a little aged, and I keep eyeing them man, I could update this so easily. I have all these new assets and techniques and stuff, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.